You ever wake up and feel like the day has already beaten you? The alarm goes off, you hit snooze, and it's not about being tired, it's about not wanting to exist in today at all. Then the hours crawl by. At lunch, food has no taste. It's just fuel to keep moving through the gray. In the afternoon, you stare at a screen, pretending to work, but your brain is a blank tab that refuses to load. Evening comes, and instead of relief, there's a heaviness. You can't even remember what you did with the day, just that it slipped through your fingers. By midnight, you're scrolling in the dark, eyes burning, chasing distraction until sleep finally drags you under. And tomorrow? You already know it's going to look exactly the same. 1 or 2 rough days you can shake off, but when they keep coming, they bury your feelings, dim your perspective, and twist the way you see the world. You stop noticing the small good things you'd normally see. Everything takes on a darker shade, like looking through black-tinted glass where nothing seems worth reaching for anymore. I know how heavy consecutive bad days can feel, because I've lived through them myself. This video isn't just a list of tips. It's something I'm making out of my own experience, from the nights I couldn't sleep and the mornings I didn't want to get up. I'm sharing what helped me climb out. If what I share doesn't fit you, that's okay. You're allowed to find your own path back. And if you need help, from a friend, a therapist, someone you trust, please don't hesitate. This video exists because I've had those long stretches of bad days too, and I don't want you to feel alone in them. So now, take a breath. We've sat in the heaviness long enough. Let's talk about how to find your way back, piece by piece. Part 1. The healthy escape. Find your good flow. When the bad days pile up, the instinct is always the same: sedate the pain. You numb out with food until you're too full to think. You let Netflix run until the "are you still watching?" screen feels like judgment. You scroll until your thumb aches, chasing distraction like it's oxygen, and for a moment, it feels like relief. But then the episode ends, the bag is empty, the battery dies, and you're left right where you started, only heavier, only emptier. So is there a way to forget the pain for a while and still feel lighter when you return to yourself? That's where your little flow comes in, and it has to be a good flow. Not the kind that leaves you emptier after it's over, but the kind that fills you back up, even just a little. Distraction is like drinking salt water. It quenches for a second, but leaves you thirstier. Flow, on the other hand, is fresh water. Flow happens when you're so immersed in something that time bends. It's not about the end product, it's about disappearing into the act itself. When I picked up my guitar after weeks of gray, it wasn't about writing a song, it was about losing myself in the rhythm until my chest felt lighter. For you, it might be sketching, lifting weights, planting herbs in a pot on your windowsill. Anything that demands your focus in a way that quiets the storm. Getting into flow when you're low isn't instant. At first, you won't feel like doing anything. That's normal. Start ridiculously small. Pick up the guitar, but don't play, just hold it. Open the sketchbook without drawing, just let the page stare back. Put on your sneakers, even if you're not ready to run yet. These tiny actions are like knocking on the door of flow. Then, add one more move. Strum a chord, draw one crooked line, walk to the end of the street. Don't chase perfection, just give your mind something simple and repeatable. Little by little, the noise in your head gets quieter, and the activity begins to carry you. That's the moment flow slips in. Quiet, steady, almost without you noticing. Even 10 minutes of good flow can remind your brain that not everything is broken, that you still know how to create, to move, to be here. Part 2. Find your small spark. If flow helps you enjoy the process and forget the heaviness for a while, sparks help you feel something good again. Simple joy, quiet pride from the smallest wins. Think of a spark as the click of a lighter in a dark room. It won't warm the house, but it proves the flame still exists. Here's the logic. Stacked bad days shrink your sense of agency. Big goals feel impossible, so your brain refuses to start. A spark bypasses that shutdown by making success so small it's hard to refuse. One clear, tiny win tells your nervous system, we can still move. That proof matters more than motivation. How to create a spark when you feel low. 1. Shrink the target. Turn clean the kitchen into wash one mug. Write the chapter becomes type one ugly sentence. Workout becomes put on shoes and stretch for 2 minutes. 2. Make the finish line visible. Name the exact action and stop when you hit it. A spark is about completion, not endurance. 3. Mark the win. Say it out loud, jot it on a post-it, tick a box. The point is to let your brain register, done. Don't wait to feel ready. Use the spark to get ready. 5 minutes, one action, done. You're not trying to conquer the mountain today. You're kicking loose the first pebble so gravity can help with the next. The trick is to celebrate the spark, no matter how small. You don't need to wait for big results to feel progress. Each spark is evidence that you're moving, that you're not completely swallowed by the bad days. Over time, those sparks connect, and suddenly you've lit enough of the dark to see a path forward. So don't underestimate it. A spark won't fix everything, but it can be the difference between staying stuck in the gray and taking your first step out of it. Part 3. Take a moment to reset. After sparks, there's something just as important, pausing, because even when you start to move again, your body and mind still carry the residue of all those heavy days. That weight doesn't vanish the moment you check off a task. If you try to bulldoze through it, you end up burned out all over again. That's why you need a reset, not a grand reinvention, just a moment to breathe. Reset looks deceptively small. It might be stepping outside for 5 minutes and letting your lungs taste fresh air. It might be changing the scenery, moving from your bed to the balcony, or from your desk to the kitchen table. It could be putting on one song that lifts your chest a little, reminding you that sound can still carry feeling. These pauses aren't wasted time. They're system reboots, tiny patches downloaded into a tired brain. Think of it like restarting a frozen laptop. You don't smash the keys harder hoping it'll work. You power down for a moment so the machine can run again. Humans are the same. When you pause and acknowledge what you're feeling, frustrated, sad, drained, without judgment, you're giving yourself permission to reset instead of pretending you're fine. And here's the thing. One bad day doesn't erase all your progress, and a streak of them doesn't define you. Hitting reset is your way of reminding yourself of that truth. It's saying, yes, this stretch has been hard, but I'm allowed to start fresh, even if it's 3 p.m. on a random Tuesday. The pause doesn't erase the heaviness, but it creates just enough space to keep going without carrying the full weight of yesterday. And sometimes that's the difference between collapsing back into the spiral and continuing forward. Part 4. Talk to yourself like a friend. When the bad days stack up, the loudest enemy isn't always the world outside. It's the voice inside your own head. And let's be real, that voice can be brutal. It calls you lazy, weak, useless. It takes every small stumble and turns it into proof that you'll never get it together. You start talking to yourself like you're someone you can't stand. But here's the question. Would you ever talk that way to a friend? Imagine your closest friend sitting across from you, exhausted, burned out, barely holding it together. Would you look them in the eye and say, "You're pathetic, you'll never change"? Of course not. You'd soften. You'd reassure them, maybe even joke a little to ease the weight. You'd remind them they've survived hard stretches before, and they'll find their way through this one too. That's the switch you need to flip inward. Self-talk isn't fluff, it's fuel. The words you repeat to yourself shape the story your brain believes. When you keep rehearsing cruelty, you deepen the spiral. When you shift to gentleness, you give yourself a fighting chance. This doesn't mean drowning yourself in fake positivity. It means catching the cruelty and swapping it for something you'd actually say to someone you care about. Today's been rough, but it doesn't erase tomorrow. Or, I'm not broken, I'm tired, and tired people need rest, not punishment. The truth is, bad days already steal so much. Don't let your own voice become another thief. Treat yourself like a teammate, not an enemy. Because if you can learn to speak with the same kindness you'd offer a friend, you stop digging the hole deeper, and you start building a ladder out. Part 5. Brain dump. When your head feels like a crowded room and every thought is shouting over the other, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is open the door and let them spill out. That's what a brain dump is. Grabbing a piece of paper, a notebook, even the back of a receipt, and writing everything down before it rots in your head. The rule is simple. No judgment, no editing. This isn't about making something poetic or organized. This is about clearing the static. Write the petty stuff. I hate how my chair squeaks. Write the heavy stuff. I feel like I'm failing at everything. Write the absurd stuff. I want to eat cake for breakfast every day. Get it all out. Because when the thoughts stay inside, they blend together into one big monster. On paper, they separate. You see them for what they are: individual, manageable, less terrifying. Think of your brain like a browser with too many tabs open. Every unfinished thought is one more tab sucking up memory, slowing the whole system. A brain dump is you hitting close all tabs. Suddenly the machine breathes again. I've done this on nights when my chest felt like it was caving in. 10 minutes later, I had a messy page filled with scribbles and half sentences, but my head was quieter. And sometimes quiet is all you need to finally rest, or to find the energy to take the next step. Don't underestimate it. A brain dump isn't about solving problems, it's about creating space. And in the middle of bad days, space is oxygen. Part 6. Think further. One of the cruelest tricks of consecutive bad days is the way they shrink your timeline. When you're stuck in the fog, every bad morning feels final. You wake up heavy, and your brain whispers, "This is forever. This is who you are now." That's the lie that keeps you trapped, the belief that if you can't fix it today, you'll never fix it at all. The truth? Healing doesn't work on a 24-hour clock. A streak of bad days won't dissolve in one good day, no matter how hard you push. Recovery is not about flipping a switch. It's about stretching your view past today, past this week, sometimes past this month. Think of it like climbing out of a swamp. The more you thrash to escape instantly, the deeper you sink. But if you pause, move slowly, one careful step at a time, the ground firms up again. You don't leap out in one heroic jump. You inch your way forward until you realize you're no longer drowning. That's why perspective matters. On your worst days, the demand to be okay right now is the heaviest chain. So loosen it. Redefine what a good day even means. It doesn't have to be glowing with productivity or joy. A good day can be simply, "I showed up. I tried one small thing. I'm a little better than yesterday." That shift, from perfection to persistence, changes everything. When I was deep in my own streak, I remember hating myself for not bouncing back fast enough. I thought healing was like rebooting a phone. Power off, power on, problem solved. But people aren't machines. We're seasons. And seasons don't change overnight. Winter gives way to spring 1 degree at a time. So, give yourself time. Think further than today's failure, further than tomorrow's pressure. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, looking back at this stretch, not as the end of you, but as the rough chapter that forced you to grow steadier, kinder, more resilient. Because every time you let yourself take the long view, you ease the pressure to be fixed right now. And when the pressure softens, you make space for progress to actually happen. Bad days may be weather, but you are climate, and climate shifts slowly, stubbornly, but always forward. So think further. Trade urgency for patience. Trade the obsession with being fine today for the quiet commitment to keep moving, however slowly, toward tomorrow. That's how you outlast the spiral. Not by demanding instant sunshine, but by remembering that clouds move. Always. Bad days don't define you. They test you. They drain you. Sometimes they even convince you that the heaviness is permanent, but they are not who you are. You are the one who endures them, the one who keeps showing up in the middle of them, the one who's still here even after a streak that tried to bury you. Maybe you won't wake up tomorrow and feel completely different. That's okay. The point isn't instant transformation. The point is persistence. Choosing flow instead of distraction, choosing a small spark instead of paralysis, choosing a pause instead of collapse, choosing kinder words for yourself, clearing your mind when it's too loud, and giving yourself the patience of time. Each choice is small on its own, but together they stack. And stacked good choices are stronger than stacked bad days. So don't rush. Don't demand perfection. Define a good day as any day where you've inched forward, even if it's just by a single breath, a single spark, a single kind word to yourself. Because those are the days that build the bridge back. The gray won't last forever. Clouds always move, and when they do, the light comes back. Sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once, but it always comes. And if you're here, listening, it means you haven't given up. You're already on your way back. If you want more reminders like this, raw, real, and built for days when life feels heavier than you can carry, stick around. This space exists for people like us. People who know bad days too well but are still willing to fight for better ones.